Hello everyone! So this video is going to be on the angle addition notes. And this first slide is just a review from the angle introduction stuff. So we want to, it says to draw angle BAC below so that it is acute. So we know acute means less than 90. So I'm just going to draw it to be any acute angle like this. And now to label it, I know that this has to be A because your vertex is always in the middle. And then the other two points will be B and C. So there we go, we have angle BAC. Another name for this angle, I could also call it CAB, because the order of the B and C doesn't matter, just as long as your vertex is in the middle. And I've already said the vertex is A. And then your two sides are the rays that make up that angle. So we would have ray AB and ray AC. And again, that's just a little review from the angle introduction notes. So all of these notes today are on angle addition, and it works just like segment addition did with our last test. And all that means is two little angles are going to add up to be their bigger angle. So let's just say that this angle in here is 20 degrees, and let's say that this other angle is 30 degrees. Okay, if I wanted the measure of the whole thing, so I want the measure of angle ABD, that would be this big angle here. If I wanted the measure of that angle, all I need to do is add 20 degrees plus 30 degrees, which gives me 50 degrees. You do need that little degree symbol there that acts as your units, just like if it would be centimeters or inches. But just make sure you have that little circle there. And this over here, that M, that just means the measure of angle ABD. So this is just asking for the measure. But that's really all that angle addition is. You just add up your two little angles and it gives you the measure of the whole thing. Now for this next problem, okay, they're giving us that the measure of angle WYX, so WYX would be this angle here. And I know that's 70 degrees. And then they're asking me for WYZ. WYZ is the whole angle again. So I am just going to add 70 plus 67 gives me 137 degrees. So again, another example where you're adding them. In this one, they tell me that QTS, so QTS, that whole angle is 44 degrees. And they're asking me for STR. So STR, they're asking me for that little angle in there. So they tell me the whole angle is 44, and I'm going to find that little angle. So for this one, you're going to subtract. So 44 minus 32 gives me that tiny little angle in there is only 12 degrees. So again, just like segment addition, if you have two little ones, you would add them together to get the big one. But if they give you the bigger one, then you would subtract to find one of the little pieces. Now some of these problems are going to get a little bit tougher. Okay, but these two talk about special angles. Okay, I see this little box here. This little box here tells me that the whole angle is 90 degrees. So if I want to find FED, which is that angle there, I would just take 90 minus 58, which gives me 32 degrees. So I know that this one here is 32. For my next one, they tell me that it's a straight angle. Remember, straight means 180 degrees, and I can see that it makes a straight line there. So it will be 180 degrees. It tells me that DBC is 122. So that's this side, DBC. And so to find DBA, I again just have to subtract. So 180 minus 122 is 58 degrees. Now for this one, they're starting to list some information here that you'll need. So the first piece of information is telling me that ABD is a right angle. So that means I'm going to put my little box in here to show that it's exactly 90 degrees. Then it tells me that CBA is 65 degrees. And now we want to find DBC. So I'm going to find that side right there. So again, to find that, you would subtract. 90 minus 65 gives me 25 degrees. Now, these last two examples get a little bit complicated. The first thing that it tells me here is that angle MPN and angle NPO are congruent. And if you remember, congruent means they're exactly the same. So MPN, that's this angle here, and NPO, that's this angle here, they're exactly the same. They have the same measure. So I put these little marks here, two little angle measures, to show that they're the same. Now it tells me that LPM is 27 degrees. So that's this angle here. And they tell me that OPN is 44 degrees. So that's this angle here. Now, since this NPO and MPN, we know they're the same, that means that this one's also 44 degrees. And now they ask me to find LPO, which is the whole thing. So I'm just going to add all three angles together. So 27 plus 44 plus 44 gives me 115 degrees as my final answer. And now our last example. And this one has a lot of information going on. But the first thing they tell me is SZM is 15 degrees. So let me find SZM. SZM is this little angle right in there, 15 degrees. Now the next piece of information tells me that MZS is the same as WZS. So MZS is that angle that we just made 15 degrees, and WZS is that angle there. So we know that those are the same. Remember, congruent, that symbol there means the same. So that means that this one is also 15 degrees. And then they tell me that AZW is a straight angle. So I know that the line is exactly 180 degrees. Now this piece of information here is a little bit tricky. The measure of FZM, so FZM, that's this angle here, is 3 times as big as MZW. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at MZW. MZW is that angle there. So 15 plus 15 is 30 degrees. So I know MZW, that whole big angle there, is 30 degrees. Now it tells me that FZM was 3 times as big. So 30 times 3 gives me that this angle here is 90 degrees. Okay? And so now this last 3 at the bottom, they ask us some questions here. FZW, the one in the middle, FZW, I'm going to erase a little bit here so we can see. Well, no, I'll just do a different color. So green. So FZW, I'm starting with the one in the middle. FZW is that green angle there. FZW. So to find that, I'm just going to add 90 plus 15 plus 15, which gives me 120 degrees for FZW. Now, I'm going to go back to FZA, and I'll do this one in blue. FZA is this angle here. Well, we know that the straight line across the bottom is 180, so then I'm going to subtract 90 and 15 and 15, which gives me 60 degrees. And finally, AZS. Let's see what color I can use now. Let's use yellow. AZS. It's going to be that big angle there. So I'm going to add all of those together. So 60 plus 90 plus 15 gives me 165 degrees. And I know that got a little tricky because of all the different colors and what angles you're talking about, but if you're ever unsure what angle they're talking about, I would suggest tracing over it just like I did with yellow or blue or green or red. You can just trace it over with your pencil just to see what angle they're talking about. Okay, if you have any questions, just ask me, or you can rewatch this video as many times as you need to.